Coming up, 6 habits that will hurt your career and how to overcome them, and the most important lesson I've ever learned. I'm coming to you live from Ramsey Studios in Nashville, and you are joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do it, and how you can get there. I'm Ken. So excited to have you with us. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. We'll get to the calls and your chats. Got the computer right here on the desk. So as you're watching the show, you've got a question that pops up and you're not necessarily ready to call in, you can fire away. Just be specific, to the point, and we will get to your questions. Also, I'm excited. I'm going to share, I love to share a story from my childhood when I teach the most important lesson I've ever learned. I think it's going to really help many of you today. So stay tuned for that. 6 habits that will hurt your career. Oh boy. I love research that is practically based. So Harvard Business Review, Carrie Goyette did an article last month, and this is fantastic. And this is based on research. 6 specific habits from research that you need to be aware of that can hurt your career. In this article, Tomas Chamorro Premuzic, I hope I said that right. They identify in the study that there are dysfunctional interpersonal and self-regulatory patterns. And they focus on the dark side of our personality traits that can make workers and leaders less effective. So here they are. Number 1, conflict avoidance. This isn't just about avoiding difficult discussions, although that is a big deal. At its core, conflict avoidance uses escape or intimidation to mask insecurities and avoid having our fears, uncertainties, or mistakes exposed. Now, I've talked about this before. Conflict avoidance, and I love that they call this out. It's not just the actual real conflict we're talking about here. We're talking about just having to have a conversation that might be uncomfortable. There's no conflict in it, but it just might be uncomfortable because you've got to share with somebody how you're feeling. And it's not that they're on the defensive, they've done anything wrong, but just even taking to a problem to a leader who's not even involved other than they are the leader and can help you solve it. The idea of the uncomfortable conversation is also conflict avoidance. Number 2, impulsiveness. This includes unpredictable emotional responses such as anger and frustration, or going after a new shiny idea without vetting it. So this is the idea of when I have an impulse, whether it is something like I'm afraid or I'm insulted, that's that fight or flight lizard brain that we talk about a lot on the show. And that's how we're wired. If we feel threatened in any way, our brain takes over, and we know that after 90 seconds, that chemical wears off. So the idea of avoiding impulsiveness, you got to be really, really careful to sit and chill out for at least 90 seconds before you do anything. And certainly entrepreneurs, people who are self-employed, you see this big opportunity, big idea, and it feels really good, you better check it out. Have some people in your life that you can bounce stuff off of. All right, number 3, blame shifting. This is straightforward. Everybody gets this. This affects so many people. They won't take ownership of whatever has happened, and you start shifting the blame. And that is the quickest way to isolate yourself in an office and to get yourself put on the outs. Blame shifters never get promoted. I'm just going to tell you that. Unless they're really good at it to the point that they've duped the leader. That is possible. I could hear the cynics out there going, well, I work with this blame shifter and this guy or this gal, they never get in trouble. They always get up the ladder. Well, okay, I get it, but they will get caught. Trust me, in the end. 4, insisting on control. This is control freaks. You're trying to avoid failure in your mind, but everybody else perceives you as rigid, micromanaging, and they will run away from you. They'll flee from you. 5, perfectionism. Everybody wants to do their best, but people who are so worried about it being perfect will miss deadlines and opportunities. So that's going to keep you right here. It's your own lid here where you're so worried about it being perfect that you don't take any opportunity. You don't take any advancing steps. And then 6, power hungry. Now, this is a step up from the controlling person. This is you control all the resources in the relationship at the office because you have no empathy and all you can see is your own goals and you don't see how anybody else comes into play and you run people over. I mean, it's really the bulldozer mentality. And you don't want to be those things. So those 6 habits can really hurt you. I share those with you because I want you to take assessment of that today. Now, you're watching on YouTube. You can go back and watch this, pause it right now, rewind, whatever you want to do. You need to do an assessment. Am I exhibiting any of those 6 habits that are self-destructive in the sense of holding me back from the career that I love? 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. Danny joins us in Heron Lake, Minnesota. Danny, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Sure, how can I help?
I'm trying to figure out if I'm thinking that I need to leave my job because of exhaustion or if I'm actually unhappy at my job. So I'll give you a little background information. I'm a probation officer, and I work mostly with juveniles. I have some adults, too, but mostly kids. And I'm also a mother. I have 3 kids, 4, 2, and 6 months old. So I don't know if working with the kids is exhausting me and making me miserable because I don't see any changes in them with the kids that I work with, or if I'm just tired from being a mom and all the things that come with having a family.
Right. Okay. Now, let me ask you this. It's interesting that you point out the kids. You didn't point out the adults. When you do probation officer work with the adults, are you seeing more positive results to your work?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you've nailed something. I think you feeling unhappy or exhausted, but I love how you framed it. You said, am I unhappy or exhausted? And I think it's a combo. The unhappy is, here I am pouring into these people and they're basically ignoring me. So if you're spending most of your time with young people in the probation system and you feel like nothing's sticking, that can be really frustrating. That's the equivalent of what they did to prisoners in prison camps. They would make them move a pile of rocks from one end of the camp to the other. And then when they did that, they moved it back and forth. That was the most excruciating torture, more so than physical torture, because nothing will kill a human spirit, Danny, like monotony and seeing no reason to the work. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, literally, prisoners would lose their minds because their entire day was, I'm picking up this rock and I'm moving it back over here. There's no reason at all for me to be doing this. There's no benefit. And that'll drive a person literally insane. And so I think that's a part of it. How much of your time, give me a percentage just off the top of your head, are you spending with young people versus adults?
I would say 95% of my time.
Oh gosh. Is that something where you could go to your leader and go, hey, I would prefer to work with adults, and they can go, oh, okay, well, we got a spot open, or we'll look to do that and we can do that? Or is that just, they have zero chance of that, of you controlling that?
We're a 2-person office, so the only other person is my supervisor. So, yeah. I mean, I think that if I spoke with him, he would try to alleviate some of it. But I have spoken with him about it previously too, and
nothing's happened.
It just gets right.
Yeah, because here's the deal: who else is going to take the cases? He has to.
Right.
Yeah, and he's the supervisor. What do you love most about the work? I want to find out what does make you happy.
Well, I've always wanted to work with kids. Even when I was in high school, that was the main focus of when I was choosing a career. So working with kids has always been something I've wanted to do. And so I feel like I am doing something that I obviously am passionate about. I like working with kids, but It just seems like I've worked at this job for almost 8 years, and I have some of the same kids on that I had 8 years ago.
Yeah. I think, you know what I think it is? I think you're mostly unhappy. I do think that there's probably some exhaustion there that's adding to your already busy plate of being a mom of 3. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the emotional exhaustion. So I think you're unhappy in the day-to-day work because you go, I'm not seeing any results. You're good at what you do, so you got the talent to do it. You love the work of, what would you say, how would you describe your role in 3 to 5 words? A successful probation officer does what?
I think listen, motivates, and encourages.
Great. Love that. Love those 3 words. I'm taking you somewhere. All right. Now, and if you're doing that, Danny, and it's actually sticking, how fired up would you be during your day?
I don't think I would want to leave work if if I was having good results. Yeah.
Okay. So this is great. This is breakthrough for you. This is breakthrough clarity. I'm telling you, you need to be in a role where you're working with kids or younger people, and you're doing those 3 things all day long, and they're actually receiving it. And I think in the probationary system, because these are kids that have been hurt deeply, I'm going to do a quick psychoanalysis. You tell me if I'm wrong. These are kids that are behind the 8 ball in life, and largely not due to their own fault, but then they've made some really bad decisions, and it's compounded an already unbelievably horrific, painful life. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. So they're at a point where they're so hurt and so confused, they don't want to listen to anybody. Am I right?
Right.
Okay. So where could you go where the kids are actually going to receive what you're doing? I think guidance counseling. I think potentially teaching, maybe coaching. I think your homework assignment is to identify multiple different places where you can do what you love to do with what you're really good at doing, and you see results because the kids are receiving your input into them. They want your investment, and you see the return on your investment. That's all that's missing. Because you not enjoying the gig right now is all about feeling like what you do doesn't matter at all. That's all it comes down to. My work doesn't matter. That's what you feel like. That's a killer emotionally. And that's tacking on top of all the exhaustion you have, just physical exhaustion of being a mom of 3. But you're strong. You're a super lady. You can do this. I think you're doing the right thing in the wrong place. That's what I think it is. If you took my Should I Quit My Job quiz, I think you would come out, I'm doing the right thing in the wrong place. Meaning investing in the young people, listening, motivating, guiding, cheering them on, whatever. The 3 words you used were wonderful. But you're doing it in a place where they're not receiving it. So you got to get over the place. So now it comes down to, all right, where are all the different places that I can do this? Well, those 3 things every day with young people, super simple. Where can I do it? What qualifications are necessary? So what do I need to learn and do? That's education and experience. You may not need any education, but you'll need some qualification. Do you already have it? Great. Let's just step over. If not, how long is that going to take me to get the qualification based on my finances? What's it going to cost? How long is it going to take? And then you're there, Danny. So there's a very clear path going forward. You are in stage 1 of my 7 stages. You're absolutely clear about what you want to do and why you want to do it. Now stage 2 is get qualified. Stage 3 is get connected. Stage 4 is get started. That's your path. And you got this. 844-747-2577, the number. Cincinnati, Ohio is next, and that is Kaitlyn. Kaitlyn, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. How can I help?
My dad listens to you all the time. He's the one that got me into listening to you.
Yay, Dad. How's it going out there? Kaitlyn's dad. Thanks for the referral.
So I was calling because I took your quiz about should I quit my job, and I'm in the wrong place, doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, wrong role, wrong place.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Exactly. And I'm really grateful for my current job, but I know that it's not where I'm meant to be. I work for the weekend, and it's really stressful and unforgiving. And I get really depressed because it feels like I've hit a dead end, and there's nothing past this. Yeah,
but I can tell you there's a whole lot waiting for you, Kaitlyn. What's your question? What's your question today?
I don't know what my dream job would be, so I guess I need some guidance on that.
Great. All right, let's start with you. You are right now, you are at the beginning of stage 1, which is getting clear on who you are. And that specifically is 3 things, Kaitlyn, we're going to walk through. Number 1, what are the things that you do best? Number 2, what do you love to do? We're talking work context on all 3 of these things. And then what results matter deeply to you? So how this works, Kaitlyn, it's like a formula, right? 1 + 1 = 2, okay? And the formula is like this. You use what you do best. Those are your hard skills, soft skills. So think abilities and qualities. You use those as tools to actually perform work. Think of a task, a function, a role that you love to do that then creates results that you look at and go, this matters deeply to me. That's the formula. You understand that so far?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
So listen, I want you to be super confident, Kaitlyn, right now. I'm your friend. And I want you to spit out stuff that's at the top of your mind and don't second guess it. Just let it flow. Here we go. I talk to everybody that knows you, Kaitlyn, and I say, what does Kaitlyn do best? What has she always done well? What have people always complimented her on? It could be an ability, that's a skill, or it could be a personal quality, like a character trait. I don't care. You tell me. Top 3, go.
I'm really good with animals.
Great.
I like to draw. People say I draw well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, keep going. Give me one more. Give me a personal quality. People say, Kaitlyn is just, give me a character trait that people say about you that they don't always talk about you this way.
People think I'm really kind.
Very compassionate. Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so you understand that compassion. So empathy is also understanding how others feel and putting yourself in their shoes. Are you a person that just always kind of find yourself feeling what other people feel?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. So you've got empathy, and then compassion is wanting to act on it. Okay. All right. So let's look at what you love to do. Think about this. If I paid you tomorrow to do these type of things, what would that be? What do you love to do?
Well, there's a big company that I'm really passionate about down in Florida and in California. I feel like if I...
What do they do?
Animated pictures.
Animated
pictures is what I love.
So you love drawing, creating, whether it be digitally or the old pencil on a piece of paper or some type of art. When you're creating images or things like that, that's when you are at you look forward to it. Your heart skips a beat, and then when you're in the middle of it, time disappears. Is that true or false?
Mm-hmm. True.
Okay, so that's high levels of emotion and high levels of devotion. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
You get excited about it, you love it, and then you're devoted to it. You just don't want to stop. Am I right?
Yeah.
All right, now we're rolling, Kaitlyn. We're getting clear. Final category. What results matter most to you? Think about what we just talked about. If you were drawing and you were creating images all day long, what would be the results when you looked at your work at the end of a day and you went, oh, my heart's full. That matters deeply to me. I created blank. What is it?
Like when I create my own character or draw something that someone asks me to draw, and when they look at it and they like it.
Right. Okay,
like
so
that.
I just walked you through all this, Kaitlyn. You know exactly what your dream job is. You just didn't want to say it because you feel a lack of confidence. And now I just pulled it out of you. So what's your dream job, Kaitlyn? If you knew you couldn't fail tomorrow based on the information you just revealed about yourself, I give it to you tomorrow. You cannot fail. What would it be, Kaitlyn? Tell us.
I'd like to work in animation.
Yeah, listen to you. Did you hear that laugh?
Yeah.
There it is again.
I don't know how to get there. What the
I can handle that. That's not where we started. You said you didn't know, but you did know. What it really is you don't know if or how to get there. Am I right?
Right.
Because you don't have a lot of confidence in your skill. But could you work really hard and develop a great skill, Kaitlyn? Do you think you've got what it takes?
I think so.
There you go. Come on, Kaitlyn, get confident. Be honest with yourself. If you're a 7 right now in raw talent and you work really, really hard on your art, could you be a 9 or a 10? Yes or no?
Yes.
I like it. Now we're excited. Now, how do we get there? Kaitlyn, how old are you?
I'm 22.
You're 22. This is the best time in the world. Like in your life, this is the time to go all in because you don't require a lot of expenses. You could room with 3 or 4 other girls. You follow what I'm saying? You could eat on ramen noodles like I did at 22. You can do whatever it takes to get in. And so if you want to be at that big company down in Florida, and I'm guessing it's in the Orlando area,
Yeah.
you want to get down there, and I don't even care what job you get. Maybe you get a job checking me in at the roller coaster, but you're in. And you're in at the company and you're meeting people and you're still drawing on the side. And then once you get in, you start going, well, do you know anybody over in the animation department? They go, yeah, it's my best friend. You know, and all of a sudden, like it's as easy as Kaitlyn, you just going in and getting in anywhere in that company. Because once you're in, you've proven to everybody that you're in the club. They like you. They know you. Then everybody that you come in contact with has some connection that would get you lunch or coffee with people in the animation department. And at 22, you may not get a prime drawing position. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but you're in, Kaitlyn, and you start meeting those people and you show them what you can do and you say, how can I get better? And they go, do this and then do this and take this class on the side and do this online and then draw some more stuff and come back. Don't you think that maybe by the time you're 25, 26, 27, 28, you could be moving up and doing what you love?
I think so.
But it requires you to move to Orlando. And you got to get in. Okay, now, here's the other thing. I'm going to give you a copy of my best-selling book, The Proximity Principle, which is all about how to get where you want to go. How about a free book that's a #1 bestseller that does all of the explaining, and I'll walk you to the people and into the places. But I just gave you exactly what I would do if I were 22. How much money do you need to make right now, Kaitlyn?
How much money
do you need to make in a year to be comfortable?
Well, my salary right now is around $3,300, and the rent here is around like $900.
Okay, so here's the deal. You know what you need to make. You need to start looking right now, start working the web of connections, which is a chapter in the book of the Proximity Principle, and you need to get to Florida. You start talking to everybody you know who knows anybody that lives down in Florida. You find a way to get a cheap apartment or whatever, or you save a little bit for the next 6-7 months and you bust it, get a second job in Cincinnati. You can get there. But that's where you got to go. You got to get any job, get in, and then you move over to the department you want to be in. That's how the Proximity Principle works. Hang on the line. Madison will give you a copy. 844-747-2577, the number. To the chat room we go. Shepherd Lily writes, hey, Ken, do you have suggestions for working together with your spouse? My husband is self-employed and his side gig is taking off, and I have the opportunity to help him with it. Thoughts? Oh, I love this question. So here's the deal. It starts with a really nice dinner. Let's make it a nice date. Let's just take some of the dinner time and let's talk through this. If you're going to do dessert, talk through it a little bit more, but then have a nice romantic date. But I want it to be a special night where we're in a good mood and we're excited about being together. And we sit down and we go, okay, babe, your side business is taking off and I've got the opportunity to help, but I don't want this to hurt our relationship. Let's just be really transparent together. And I think it starts with you two both making a list. It'd be fun to do this right at the table. All right. And both of you take your own pen and paper, pencil is my favorite. And let's make a list of what each of you do really, really well. Then what do you both really, really suck at? Because we want to know our strengths and our weaknesses. Why? Because it would be really, really nice if you, Shepherd Lily, are really good at the things that he's awful at. And vice versa. Because then you could step in and you take some things off of his plate that are weaknesses, and instantly the company's getting better and your relationship as husband and wife is going to be healthier because he sees everything that you're doing as a total relief of stuff that's sucking the soul out of his body. So he instantly tremendous value, not just in you as his wife, but as his co-worker. So that's huge. So let's see if you guys are a good fit on the work part. Because if you're not coming in and relieving some pressure, it could create tension. So you've got to be a good fit for him so that you two are a good fit for each other. What I mean by that is you're going to do things for the business that he doesn't have time to do, but you're also good at it. If he's trying to give it to you and then he's trying to teach you how to do it and you're not doing it right, could cause a lot of tension. So let's just be honest on that stuff. And once you're honest about that, now you're both clearly thinking and going, okay, if I were going to hire you and you weren't my wife, would I hire you? If you meet that criteria, then I'm fine with it. If not, I don't know that it's worth it. That would be my litmus test. Aquila Shea writes in, I'm currently employed full-time as a commodity manager, and your should I quit my job quiz revealed I'm in the right role, but the wrong place. I like to teach what I do as an independent consultant, and I love to do what I do. Any suggested next steps? Well, I think you just identified it. I think your issue is when somebody gets the should I quit my job quiz and they come out with the right role in the wrong place, that's always speaking to tensions or lids in your workplace. Either you've got a toxic culture, that's team members around you, or your leader, or just the culture as a whole is not healthy. Or you feel like you've got a lid and you keep smacking up against the lid and you don't see a ladder. And so that's generally what's going on with somebody who I actually like the work. I mean, I really love the work. I love the role. It's what I'm supposed to do, but I don't see any opportunity for growth. So that's what's usually going on there. So I would look into the independent consultant role. You've already identified it as an option. I do my homework and say, what does it take to win as an independent consultant? And what's that bridge look like? Because I'm not a fan of somebody going, I'm not happy here. I know I'd be happy over here, but whee, and we jump off, and then that's when you get hurt financially. I'm for, okay, I know I want to go over there. This is what I'm going to have to learn and do, get qualified, and this is how long it's going to take me based on the financial commitment. And so I've got to stay where I am so that I can build a bridge, and then I walk calmly and triumphantly into the future. It takes a little longer. It takes a lot of persistence and patience, but you don't get hurt financially doing it that way. So there you go. Appreciate your questions. Spread the word. Hey, if you're enjoying today's show, by the way, right below the video window, somewhere right down in here, just give us a thumbs up. YouTube pays attention to that, and our stats are doing great, and I'm so grateful. I want to say a quick thank you. The audience is growing. We're out here every day, but give us a like, and would you subscribe so that you get updates, when we're coming in, and also share. If the show is helping you, you go, man, my friend Fred needs to hear this. Boom. You can click right there, share, right below the video window, and it's a quick email or a text. So spread the word. We appreciate it. All right, so quick lesson, and then we get back to the phones. I talked about this at the top of the show. The most important lesson I ever learned. I can't wait to share this with you. And this is for the person who knows what they want to do. They've seen the future. The heart's fully engaged. The mind is going, okay, I know I can do it. And you're actually starting out. You're in that startup phase or stepping out phase. And you're not getting noticed either by the customer for your side business. It's not happening fast enough. Or you stepped into the industry and you've paid your dues. And you feel you deserve a step up and it's not coming yet. That's the person I'm talking to right now. This message is for you. So I'm 7 years old the first time I play soccer. I'm a little guy right now. I'm a 5'8" little guy, okay? I'm not a big dude. By the way, I hear that a lot when I meet people. Quick aside, you watch me on the camera, and I think people think that I'm taller than I am. Not kidding. When I meet people out in the lobby all the time, it happens about 5-6 times a year, and it happens about 3 to 4 times a year at a live event. They'll look at me and go, oh, you're a lot shorter than I thought. What am I supposed to say to that, folks? If, by the way, public service announcement, if that's what you think about me, go ahead and think it. I am short, but don't tell me. It's just awkward for all of us. What am I supposed to say? Well, you're not as good looking as I thought you'd be. Could you imagine if I said that to somebody? They'd be like, that guy is so rude. I would never say that. But spare me the, oh, you're a lot shorter than I thought, Ken. It's just awkward for everybody. All right. So I'm 7 years old. I'm a little guy. So when I'm 7, I look like I'm 5. True story. Okay. So my dad signs me up for soccer, and I'm playing in a 7 to 9-year-old league, or maybe it was 8 to 9-year-olds, and because of my age, they put me in there. And so here's the deal. I'm the littlest dude on the field, okay? And yet I know that I'm a pretty decent soccer player, but I'm the kid that even though I had my fear just like everybody else, I wanted to get out on the field. Well, the littlest dude, it looks like if the ball hit me, I'd die. So I have no tension towards my first soccer coach. He's a very nice man. But he didn't put me in much. And I remember it being somewhere in the middle of the season, and it was a game where I didn't even get in the game, I bet I was in for a minute each half. This is back in the day, by the way, where every kid didn't get equal playing time. You know what I mean? Well, there weren't bike helmets either, but I digress. Oh, that'll get me in trouble. So I'm driving home with Dad. I'm in the back seat, and my dad looks in the rearview mirror, looks back at me, sees that I'm crying. He's like, "What's wrong, bud?" And when I open my mouth to tell him, it just sobs. I just lose it and I break down. And I said something to the effect of, "I just want to play more, Dad. How come I'm not playing?" And my dad, I'm the oldest, and he said something to me in the remaining moments of the tears, because I kind of calmed down. And he said, "Hey, you're going to be fine. Calm down." And he looked at me in the rearview mirror, and I'll never forget. He said, "You just keep showing up to practice, and you be ready, and you keep getting better. You do everything you can to get better. And you're going to get bigger. You're the youngest kid. You're going to get bigger. And 2 years from now, you're going to be able to play, and you're going to get to score. I'm telling you, your time will come." And there it was. Now, at 7, I didn't get it. But I was thinking, okay, all right. I'm willing to hang in there is the only thought I had. I couldn't get any more depth out of that. But over the rest of my life, I've never forgotten that story. My dad and I have talked about it many, many times, and it has sustained me on my journey. It took me 10 years to get to this spot, the dream job. I'm not saying it's going to take you 10 years, but what I am telling you today is that for those of you who aren't where you want to be, but you're doing what you have to do, and you feel like you're being overlooked, and you feel like you're never going to get your chance, and you feel like the big sale's never coming, and you feel like this side hustle's never going to turn into a full-time gig and be your dream company, I'm telling you, hear me, listen. 4 words today. Your time will come. But you have got to keep showing up. Now, the rest of the story is I did get a little bigger. Not much, but I did get bigger. And 2 years later, as a 9-year-old, I made the travel soccer team as an all-star. And I scored a bunch of goals. And I still remember how many, by the way. It was a big deal to me as a young guy. And I learned the lesson that my dad taught me, and I want you to get it. You stay with it. Don't you dare quit. You do have talent, you do have passion, and you do care deeply about a certain result. And that's the role that the creator of the universe put you on this planet to fill. Don't you quit. Because if you're not in the right place, the right time will not happen. It won't. But if you keep showing up and you stay in the right place, the right time is going to find you. And you'll look back on it and you'll go, ho, ho, ho. And every parent and grandparent that's listening to me right now knows that I'm right because you've experienced it. And so those of you who are parents or grandparents and you're feeling what I felt, you think about what you'd tell your grandkid or what you would tell your son or your daughter. You take your own advice. Keep showing up. Don't you quit. 844-747-2577. Let's go to Chris in Dallas, Texas. Chris, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken. I appreciate you taking my call.
Sure. How can I help?
So currently I'm a mechanical designer, and I have a wife and a child and another child on the way. And I'm working towards an electrical engineering bachelor's degree. So I stay very busy, but I'm starting to get a little discouraged. I'm in my dream field, not my dream job yet, but I have a lot of potential for growth. And I'm just not sure if getting the degree is going to be worth it in the end, if, say, it doubles or halves the time that it's going to take to get to the dream job.
Well, do you need the electrical engineering degree to get to the dream job, or is there another path or two?
I think I could get to the dream job without it. I think it will take a lot longer. But then I also think to myself, once I get to the dream job, if I want to go further, it might be a lot tougher without that degree. But it's just very discouraging in the meantime.
Okay, what's so discouraging? Because what you just lined up for me says that this is a really good plan because it gives you options, gets you to the dream job, plus allows you to continue to expand in the dream job. So I feel like it's a good thing. What's so discouraging? That it's going to take you a few more years to get done?
I think that's probably the main part of it. It's just the time that's going into it.
Okay, but hold on. So let's do a little fun exercise, okay?
Okay.
Let's just say that I could fast forward it right now. Well, so I want you to go in your mind to 2 years from now. Is that what you think it's going to take?
I think it'll probably be closer to 4 or 5 years.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I get it. Oh boy, this is even better. Okay, let's just fast forward to 4 or 5 years from now and everything starts moving for you. What do you think Chris 4 or 5 years from now says to himself about this moment right now? What does he say to you when you get on the other side of it and things start moving? What does he say to current Chris?
I imagine he's going to tell me it was all worth it.
I think so, Chris. In fact, I know so. So listen, man, I feel you. Can I just tell you a second? It took me 7 years from the time I started from scratch trying to get into broadcasting, 7 years to walk into the door in June 1 of 2014 here at Ramsey Solutions. Then I had to, and I was in my sweet spot. I was using what I did best to do what I love, to create results that matter, but it was not the dream job because I had to say goodbye to the Ken Coleman Show to come here, knowing that I believe this is where I was supposed to be, and God had a huge opportunity for me if I was faithful, and I paid my dues. So I did it again, and it was another 3 years before I stepped into this current role. You know, my dream job, Ken Coleman Show. I'm speaking, writing books, part of the succession plan here at Ramsey Solutions. I mean, it's the dream. But dude, do the math on that. What's 7 plus 3?
Yeah, it's 10 years right there.
Okay, you're looking at 4 to 5. So you can do it because I did it. And here's the deal. Your mindset has to be, I'm not where I want to be right now, but I'm headed there. And this is the price of admission. And you're always focused on your future in the sense of, that's the reason I'm doing all of this. And 4 to 5 years is going to go really quick, and you're doing things all along the way to make connections, to get better in other areas outside of the degree thing. And you are just constantly building. Think of it like building a wall. You're building a brick wall, and it takes one brick at a time, one brick at a time, one brick at a time. It doesn't feel like a lot until you look up and you go, oh, we just finished that wall. Now we can start on the other wall. So I think your mindset has to be, is this going to be worth it? And you consistently ask yourself that. And if the answer is yep, then you just retrain your brain. So you're just frustrated right now because you're like, oh, I just want it now. And I think partly because you feel like you can do it without the degree. Am I right?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
All right, so that's my last piece. I've just set you up. I put you in a corner on purpose, Chris. I want to push you. Don't stop doing the degree right now. But what if you try to circumvent the degree? Because that's where your greatest frustration is. And you told me a few minutes ago that you thought you might be able to do it without the degree. Why not try that? And if we find out a year from now that you can do it, then we can stop the degree. And I don't even think that's wasted money. But I think I pursue both paths right now. What is there to lose? Well, I'd spent a few years in college. Well, so what? You don't have to keep going. But then you also said, wait a second, I need that degree for later on. But what if you could get where you want to go and you temporarily pause on the education and then pick it back up later so that you can keep growing? I just think there's a couple ways to get at this, and you're only thinking one way. Make sense?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right, Chris, you got some work to do, don't you?
Yeah.
All right, get after it. Chris, you can do this. You can do this. I want you pursuing multiple paths right now, and then we see where the momentum is, and we just keep on stepping. So fun. Good stuff. My time is almost up, but I want you to know before I go that you matter and you do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.